Hey, eCom Masters, welcome to the show. My name is Mike Weiss, Chief Community Officer at Dropified, and as a thank you for tuning in to the e-commerce mastery show, we've put together a special podcast-only e-commerce training just for you. Now, in it, you're going to learn the ins and outs of how to set up your own brand of products where you can literally put your own labels, brands, logos, and messaging over top of top-selling, in-demand, high-quality, high-profit products that are exclusive to supplements, CBD, skincare, and pet products. And here's the key: no minimum order quantities, no upfront inventory costs. And I'm going to show you how to do this in literally minutes. Now, guys, we refined these principles over the course of 5 years with working with over 100,000 of our own e-compreneur customers just like you. So to get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below and you're going to learn exactly how we do this in just minutes. Thank you so much for being part of the Dropified family and enjoy the show.
Paul, so nice to chat with you today. How's the weather out there? Looks like we have some waves and palm trees and stuff behind you.
Oh, that's cool, Ben. I appreciate you having me on, man. Yeah, this is a completely fake background. It's so much more entertaining than the real one. So I can switch this up and change it around. I mean, I can put myself into space if I want, put myself on the bridge over at San Francisco. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can do.
Now, is there a dolphin feature where you can press a button and you have some dolphins jumping in the background? Because that would be cool.
I'm going to look into that. That sounds like a pretty awesome thing to do. So I might even introduce like a multi-option for various things to pop up. Who knows?
Well, man, I appreciate you carving out some time for your busy schedule today to come chat with me and with the audience here. So I want to thank you for that. And you know, if you could just give a little bit of some background on yourself and, you know, how you really got into the game and where you really are and what your focus is, that would be awesome.
Cool. Right. That's fine. You got another 3 hours for this? Is this all right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get those dolphins ordered now by the end.
Yeah, we're going to order the dolphins. They should be here in the next 38 minutes. I like to be precise. So that's fine. I could just pretend with my hand or something, just drop some dolphins in there. Maybe I could find a picture of something. I don't know. Anyway, right. So my history, really, I mean, I ran my own business for like 24 years, bricks and mortar business. Going through that time, to get customers, it's sort of like evolved. You know, we went from like doing like the regular stuff, which most people do, like using like print media. So yellow pages over here in the UK, I believe you call it the white pages over in the States, which is like your business listings. And that is kind of like primarily where people went. People were looking for a service. You know, if they wanted a plumber, that's where they opened the page. If they wanted, you know, someone to help them with carpentry or something like that, they opened the page to that. And that's kind of like how it all was. Now, we were quite lucky because we lived in a town which was very geographically focused. So it tended to be that people would choose local, right? So if you had your ad out in front of people, then they were going to choose you, you know, and we grew based on that. But what we found over the years is all of a sudden, this whole internet thing started happening. And I'm making myself sound really old now, calling it this internet thing. But, you know, that's what came out. And so then we needed to have like a website, and then like Facebook came out, and then we needed to have like, you know, a Facebook account. YouTube came out, and that started working crazy as well. I mean, our business was actually something completely different to what I'm doing now, which was actually a window blinds business. It's window dressings, you know, like your roller blinds, your Roman blinds, plantation shutters, and all that sort of stuff. And a funny story, because I actually created a video about how to take a Venetian blind down, right? Now, this might not sound that interesting to a lot of people, But I did this video probably maybe 4 years ago. And the reason why I did it was because I was getting called out to people's houses that they were redecorating or remodeling, and they wanted to know how to take the things off. So I did this video because I got called out several times, like, you know, emergency. I've got my decorator coming in at 9 o'clock tomorrow. I can't get the blind off. It's 8:30 at night. So in the car drove for half an hour to take this thing off, you know, to try to explain it to him on the phone first, just no idea. And literally 2 seconds, clunk, clunk, there you go, off it come. So I did this video, and it's had over 200,000 views on YouTube. Right? and so many comments. My favorite one was, "You saved my life. I was about to hit it with the hammer." Right? So, and you just don't know. This is why you don't know. There are so many niches out there. You just don't know, do you? It's crazy. Anyway, long story. So then, as things moved on, Facebook moved on, and YouTube was there, and websites were there, and all that good stuff, and online directories and everything. What I found was I started seeing that people were generating leads for their business. You know, Facebook ads came out. So I started looking at that and thinking, do you know what? We need that. That would be a great idea. So I started looking into it. I started looking into how I could actually create the pages to get people to opt in effectively for a special offer that we were going to run. And there was a couple of things going on at the time. I still had like my entrepreneur mind going 600 miles an hour every single day and thinking how to make money online, because all of a sudden all these other crazy things started happening. So I always had that little thing going on the side. And I started using one company, and they weren't quite satisfying both needs. It was okay, but it wasn't brilliant. So I think I ended up, I think I saw an ad for the Russell Brunson's .com Secrets book. And I was on a flight back from the States. You know, I did what most people do. They take a book on holiday and never pick it up. Right. So, you know, all good intentions. You've got this book, you're determined to read it. You sit down on the beach and the kids just start running around, and there's just no chance. Right. So
dolphins in the background distracting
dolphins in the background, pineapples falling out the tree, you know, and all that stuff.
The usual things.
The usual thing. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone that's a parent understands, even though you go on holiday, you're not really on holiday. You're just not. You know, you're effectively doing childcare in a larger space. So it's so anytime you kind of close your eyes for 2 seconds and then you're blinking straight open again, going, right, where are the kids? Where are they going? Can you see them? Can you see them? Oh, there they are. They're in the ocean. Oh no, my God. You know, it's like, right, okay, you've got to go get them. You know, I've almost broke several bones running across loungers to dive into pools to help kids that appear to be drowning, but they were just messing around, that sort of thing. So, you know, this will come to you, sure, at one point. And anyone that's a parent understands this kind of crazy sort of like startled rabbit thing that you've got going on whenever you've got children. Is constant looking out for them and the safety and the well-being, and making sure they're not doing anything they shouldn't do, shall we say, as well. So we get to this book, and then finally we get on the plane to go back from the States. And I've got now 8.5 hours to kill. It's an overnight flight. I just don't sleep on flights anyway. So I dive into the book. By this time, I've already watched 2 movies and got bored. Everyone else around me is asleep, right? The lights are dim and everything like that. So I switch on my little night light, start reading, and I go through the first 10 pages, just like that. Then it goes 20, 40, 50, 60. And I've read the whole book. By the time I get off the flight, I'm buzzing. I've not got that jet lag that normally means you go comatose, like with at any point, you know, you could sit there and you're asleep. No, I'm wide awake, literally, like I've taken an adrenaline shot. I cannot wait to get home. It's nuts. So then I start building out these things, and ended up buying, getting an account with ClickFunnels itself, started building the pages, which was something really simple. It was just an opt-in page, a thank you page, and then an email series. And then something crazy started happening. As soon as we put the ad out, we started getting inquiries. I started getting little notifications on my phone saying, "Oh, new lead, do this, do that." And we were crazy. At one point, we generated like, I think we spent like 400. I'm going to use dollars here, so it makes sense. About $400, and we generated over 42,000 in sales. Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, we got that busy. I had to switch the ads off because I still had to go out to the customers and service the customers and all that sort of stuff. So it was only like every so often that we'd run these ads. And, it got so good. We started taking people on. I started employing and training up new staff to help me do the installations and all that stuff as well. And all the time, my brain is thinking, well, if it works for this, it could work for something else. And then I started talking about it with the guy who was a personal trainer with me at the time. He was training me up, and he was talking about the way that he wanted to get his business online. He was fed up with doing one-on-ones in the gym for like 35 hours a week, and he wanted to get into group coaching. He had a few things that he was trying to sell, like, the ebooks and the training and the group coaching and all that. And I was just happy to talk to him for as long as possible. And I just would go on and on and on, because ultimately the more I spoke to him, the less sets I had to do. Right. So
very strategic.
Oh yeah. And he would pull me up on it as well. And he'd go, yeah, that's all fine. Now lift the weights. Right. So, and I'd be like, yeah, but what about this? No, lift the weights. And I'm like, okay. And then I'd lift the weights. Then we talk some more. So I never got a breath basically the whole time. Never got the breather, the 1 minute breather between sets. It was just me talking. And long story short, I actually signed him up for ClickFunnels. That was my very first affiliate sale. And it was crazy because then, although I was paying for the software, I was now getting commission, which kind of like started offsetting my costs. And the light bulb started going off a little bit. I thought, do you know what? If I only get a few more of these, I'm actually going to make more than it cost me a month to have it. And that's where it all started. And it just went nuts after that, because I became the most helpful person ever when it came to that platform. Anyone that asked a question in the groups, I would answer. Not because I was trying to get them to buy it from me, because I assumed that most people already had it. But over the time, I'd be, if I ever wrote it down, it'd be crazy numbers, literally probably thousands of messages, at least 300 to 400 Zoom calls with people just like this, going through screen shares, showing them how to do it. And as a result of that, there was quite a few people which actually said, oh, well, I don't actually have it right now. Can you give me your link and I'll go get it? And all of a sudden that shot me up from just like one sale up to 20 or 30 sales. And now I was making over $1,000 a month on top of my business. And even though that still was churning away, it started opening my eyes seriously. And I thought, okay, right, well, what else have I got that I can use to help solve a problem? And another one was the email stuff as well. So I would build email sequences for people and say, look, you're trying to do this. I've got an email sequence. There you go. And then more people started joining from that. And it kind of really built up to a point where I was having to spend less time because I was getting recommended out by other people. Maybe something I already had. It might be a bonus that I had for an offer or anything like that. And last year I passed I'd gone through like recommending ClickFunnels to 100 different people, which meant you also got their dream car award, which meant, not only all the passive income each month, but they also gave you another $500 towards a lease of a car. And that was super cool. So when we actually sold our business last year, back in November time, which is 2019, I was able to start taking this to the next level and start building out some of my own stuff and really being able to take my pick as far as what to promote, because I knew what my audience would appreciate and use the most, so that's kind of like where we went with it. And that's me ranting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a sip of drink now. Yeah.
That's a great story. That's an amazing story. And it seems like the foundation of it is really building relationships with people and providing a ton of value. and going
Absolutely,
down those rabbit holes.
Yeah, exactly. And it can get overwhelming. And I'm glad you brought rabbit holes up, because I'm gonna throw a phrase at you in a minute. I don't know if you've heard this one before, but sometimes you have to stand back and let the dog see the rabbit. Right? You heard that one?
No.
Never heard that one.
Though.
You're liking that, aren't you?
Yeah.
It just means you have to kind of like take a real step back from your business, see what is going to work, see what's not working, try and figure out why it's not working, and then separate the activities and what you're doing. So if it's not working and you've noticed why it's not working and it's something out of your control, then you can kind of like push it away. And I did that with a number of things, especially like on social media. There's so many platforms which either suit you or don't suit you. I mean, for a time, I was trying to get into like TikTok, and I realized I'm not doing it and it's not working. To fix it is not something that resonates very well with me. So now I'm cutting it off. And then I stopped doing anything like it, because people were recommending doing like 3 or 5 a day. You had to think of something decent to put together, trying to make it funny and amusing. And believe me, I'm not either of those. So it was kind of like, right, I just don't want to do all the editing. I don't want to do all this stuff. I don't have time for this, and it's gone. That's it. So I managed to shorten down what I was doing and really focus on the activities that were pushing the business forward. That kind of made sense to me.
So how do you actually evaluate which rabbit holes to try to go down and which ones to just let the dogs have at it?
Are we talking about affiliate programs in particular, or just the business building activities?
I'm just talking about the decision-making process for how you evaluate opportunities.
When it comes to getting your message out, I think it's got to be something that you can be consistent with, that you can be passionate about, and that you've physically got the time and energy to do it. Because, as I said before, with TikTok, it just wasn't doing it for me. Even with Pinterest, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I had like 54,000 hits on my Pinterest account last month, but I hardly do anything with it. Okay. Because I've implemented certain amounts of automation so that when I do put some content out, it gets split up and syndicated out, because that's more smarter than trying to do each individual thing. So if I've got some content, it will get automatically scheduled out and put out to Twitter, for example. That's another one that I don't spend time on. LinkedIn, again, hardly any time there. Pinterest, 0 time on that. And also my Facebook business page, which again is just maintenance, but it can start creating those little droplets, if you like, every so often. If you were doing those little droplets and you held a bucket in the same spot and enough of those droplets come up, guess what? That bucket fills up, and then you need another bucket, then that fills up as well. And this is all content. And before you know, you've got enough to wash the car.
So when you like go out and you're trying different things, is it where you go and you add one new thing and then one new thing, or do you go out and try like 4 or 5 new things and then give it a certain amount of time and then cut back on the ones that aren't working and really go hard into the ones that are? Like, how do you approach that?
Again, we're talking about the content here, or is that what you're talking about, or the actual products or services that I might promote?
Let's talk this one in the form of products and services that you promote.
With products and services that I promote, I will generally start out with something that I might already use, because that makes more sense to me, because I feel better recommending services to other people that I would be happy recommending. It's a little bit like going to the movies, seeing a movie and thinking it's great, and then getting home and telling your friends and family how brilliant it was and they should go and watch it, as opposed to going to the movies, watching a film which was terrible and you weren't happy with, and then going and tell all your friends and family to go watch it. You know, it just doesn't kind of work that way, does it? So, I mean, even then, there are certain things out there which, you know, I use myself, and I will, okay, well, and if I recognize and understand that someone's got a problem that I know that product can solve, then I will try and be as casual about it as possible and say, look, I know you're struggling with this, X, Y, and Z would actually help you with that, you know? So yeah, I think you should try it out. And if you do, you know, just let me know, because there's always a special running or something like that, which you can take advantage of. So it's non-pushy, and it is designed with their goal and their benefit in mind rather than anything else. And I believe in like good karma, and the more that you give it out, the better. I mean, there was a program that I was involved with back in January, and even now I'm still finding people contacting me directly through, whether it be through YouTube or Facebook, because they're interested in it. I've done a nice in-depth review of it. I've showed my results. I've also showed the results that other people have gotten and all that good stuff. And people come to me and say, look, I'm really interested in joining. I've got a few questions. Come and hop on a call, or this, that, and the other. And ultimately, I would say 8 out of 10 of those conversations end up in a sale. And that's a $500 commission. So, you know, it's worth putting the information and the value out first without thinking about what you could get in return. I mean, because I've done this even with people which were already in that program. They didn't join through my link. They were already in it. And I've spent, you know, hours, literally 20, 30 hours easy, speaking to people which have, on the face, if you looked at it, I would see no benefit from. But I still believe in building that relationship because it could be useful further down the line.
Hi there, eCom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a friendly reminder that you've unlocked access to our exclusive podcast-only training on how to create your own supplement, CBD, pet, or skincare brand in just minutes, where we're going to break down from A to Z exactly how to put your own design on top-selling products and start selling in just minutes. It's incredible. Now, the principles that you're going to learn are exactly the same principles that we've used with our customers who did over $2 billion. That's right, with a B, $2 billion in sales last year alone. You cannot afford not to take me up on this free training. So to get immediate 100% complimentary access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below in the show notes. I will see you soon.
And I think you really touched on a key piece here, which is the relationship. Because even from a perspective where you may not be the one offering the product or service, such as with affiliate marketing, if you still own the relationship with that customer, then that you may find something else later down the road that they need to complement what they already have. And if they reached out and you were just, you know, a douche and you didn't, you know, help them out or at least point them in the right direction, they probably wouldn't be as likely to take the next recommendation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, that dives into a lot of what we think about as far as affiliate marketing with email marketing. Not everybody's going to be interested in what you have to show them. And, you know, you have to be kind of like more selective. You got to try and segment your list to the way that I describe it. The easiest way is, let's say if you've got 2 pages and one is like targeted towards dog owners, the other one's targeted toward cat owners, and you have something which is going to, like, it might be a training guide for each of them, right? Or it might be a healthy diet or healthy exercise for both types of animal. Now, if you've got someone that opts in for the dog one, and then 3 months down the line, you send out an email to everyone on your list about a cat product, guess what? The dog owners are not going to be interested in that. So it kind of like starts killing you open rates. People will unsubscribe because it doesn't resonate with them. And that is kind of like the real simplest way of trying to think about how to maximize any return that you're doing via email, because you're still building that relationship with them. And again, if the people opted in on the dog thing, I wouldn't start talking about cats to them via email, or vice versa. I wouldn't talk to the cat owners about the experiences that I've had with my dog and the problems that my dog might be having at the moment and how we've overcome it and stuff like that. You've got to make sure that you talk to the right person about the product or service or any issue or problem that they're trying to overcome themselves, because that's what's going to stand you out. That's going to position yourself as more of an expert rather than just a jack of all trades.
So when you're going about actually building that relationship, and clearly this transcends any specific industry or niche or business type, building relationships is just a fundamental business principle that if we want to be successful, we need to master. What I love about what you're doing is you're doing it one to many, where you're building relationships with a lot of people at once. How do you actually go about doing that? Because it seems like the easiest way to build a relationship is that one-to-one, that personal connection. So are you trying to replicate that one-to-one feeling? Are you how are you actually going about building those relationships?
I think it's just being real with people and talking to them as if they were my best friend, and it's a conversation that I'd be having. It's very much like the training that a lot of people will think about when it comes to going online with video. I mean, a lot of people are still very dubious and cautious and perhaps worried about appearing on camera. So, they won't want to do the YouTube videos. They won't want to do that. And, we're not going to talk about the way that photographers used to say it, oh, make love to the camera and all that sort of thing, So you're not going to be doing that, right? We wanted to put that out of your mind. I just literally, and I find it distracting because I've got you on the video as well. So a lot of times it makes it look like I'm looking down. But if I look directly into the camera and I'm just imagining you're at the eyepiece, you're just the other side of it. And I'm just talking directly to you. And I'm not talking to hundreds of people or thousands of people. I'm just literally talking to that one person. And you can pick that person as well. So if we're not doing an interview now and I'm doing a training, then I will picture my perfect student, for example, and I will try and talk their language without being, if it's an intermediate training, I won't try and dumb it down. If it's a beginner training, then I won't go too, high up as far as like the knowledge goes and stuff, because again, you're trying to resonate with that individual. I'm going to try and talk into that now, even though you distracted me there. So, and that's how you can become more personal with that person, because you're just looking at it like I'm talking to you. We might be sat on a beach with the dolphins going on behind us, with the pina coladas going on, and we're just having a conversation. So that is how I like to try and deliver most of my training, simply because people will feel the direct contact by doing that. If I'm sitting here like this and sort of looking down all the time and saying, oh, well, you need to add this bit to that bit, and then you got to go and do, people aren't going to get that. It's very much proper eye contact, a relaxed manner, overexcited if you have to be overexcited, because sometimes you do. And, just try and keep it as natural as possible, because that's the easiest way of connecting with people. And I've told so many people which are scared on camera, the best way to do it is to do it. And what I've suggested before is, if you're thinking about doing video, whether it be Facebook Live, whether it be videos in Facebook groups or YouTube videos or anything like that, just do one a day for 30 days and go through the procedure of uploading it. Literally everything. But if it's YouTube, you keep it unlisted, but you go through the motions. You upload it, you fill out the description, you fill out the title, you put in the tags, you do everything except for listing it. You keep it unlisted, and you do that for 30 days. And again, that connection with the camera to think, okay, right, who am I talking to right now? It could be, a conversation that you might be having with your best friend or a relative or your mother or something like that. Someone that is completely behind you, someone who is ultimately invested in your success, and that is who you're going to talk to as well, because that relaxes you. Because what you don't want is to start looking into the camera and thinking you're being judged. Yeah. And you're thinking, oh my God, what if this is crap? What if no one listens? What if no one cares? Or I look terrible, and all that good stuff, right? So you try and move away from that thought and just focus on the person that is either your perfect student or the person that you can easily have the most casual conversation with. And like I said, after 30 days, you're going to be almost there. Now, for some people, it might be longer, but ultimately you've done it, and you can get back after that 30 days, and you really push yourself to make sure you do it every single day. That consistency then starts coming up, and it becomes so much easier to do.
That's absolutely true. I mean, I've put up hundreds and hundreds of videos, probably over 500 videos in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it gets easier the more you do it, because it's almost like you find your voice and you figure out, okay, well, who am I on camera? And that may sound kind of weird, but like sometimes we have a lot of different pieces of ourselves. We're really dynamic human beings. Like, we might be really quiet when we're in group situations, but then one-on-one, we light up and we're electric. And so it's really finding that part of yourself that's the most powerful, or the most that you feel the most, I think powerful is the right word, like where you really feel in your zone, and being able to then channel that into what you're doing. And that's what I found, at least from my perspective, is the way to do it.
Yeah, totally right. Totally right. And I mean, you probably know this, but I have my own podcast, and I do that every day. And although it's a podcast, so I'm not on camera, but you're still talking, and I'm still talking to that person because I plugged the mic into the phone. I actually hold the phone as if I'm having a conversation. They're on the other side of the line, right? And that is how I deliver the podcast, because it makes it's so much easier to do, because I am literally having a conversation, and I've pictured that listener, the perfect listener that I want to listen to this information, that's going to get the most value out of it, is actually going to take action on it. And that is what I'm giving them. I'm telling them how to do it. And I'm always excited about it, because I can't wait for their success, right? So you kind of like, oh yeah, now we need to do this, right? And yeah, and then we started doing video ads, but then we didn't just do straight ads. We didn't go straight to the link. We just put it out like that to start with. And then we went like this, and you go through it, and you try and explain it to people. And you just got, like I say, my mic can go like 600 miles an hour. But the one recommendation I would say is don't do any of it drunk.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you might be thinking this is great because you're a bit more relaxed and you're jolly and happy and all that sort of stuff. But believe me, the actual quality of what comes out your mouth, it disappears. So that's speaking
hilarious.
from experience there, Ben,
So I love that, by the way. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So how else, when you're really like reaching out to an audience and you're building that relationship, it would seem like through email, you're probably using a lot of text, you're using a lot of, a lot of copy or writing, or however you want to say it. How do you really go about that?
Actually, there's a couple of train of thoughts on this one, or schools of thought, or whatever you want to call it. But I find that every point of contact has a purpose. Sending out an email, you are thinking of a result. But the very first thing you need is someone to open the email. So you think, right, your email subject line is the most important thing. Once you've got past that and your open rates start getting decent, what's the next thing that you needed to do? Do you really want them reading an essay, or do you want them to go somewhere else to read the essay? Do you want that click to go to your content, or are you just happy for them to read what you're writing with no call to action and nothing else with that? So I noticed that on some people's emails, and they are incredibly successful, so I'm not saying it doesn't work, are like essays, literally like 500 words plus. For me, I'm thinking, right, if this person sends me an email, I'm intrigued enough, the curiosity has been hit, or I look at it and think, right, yeah, this is this person that emails me a lot. I love their stuff. Let's open it. and that goes through your process. And you've got to think like your customer as well. You've got to think, you need to make sure that what you're delivering to people is worth their time to open it in the first place, right? So you're doing that whole process of thinking about them and thinking what's in it for them straight away. So what are they going to get out of opening your email? What are they then going to get out of clicking with your email? Because that is the next point. So a lot of times on my emails, I keep them really short. I'll tell them exactly what's going on, and then I'll offer them a call to action. So it might be, like I uploaded something to YouTube, for example, and it helps solve this problem, that problem. Click here to go for the link. And I might include a still shot from the video, which looks like a thumbnail. And I'll tag the URL to the video if they actually click the thumbnail, because people do. So when you're putting graphics in your emails, and again, try and limit that, because a lot of email service providers don't like too many graphics, because it makes the file look big and all that sort of stuff. Always add a URL link from your images, because you would not believe how many times people do click on it. I've done split tests on this before to actually show on landing pages from what people have clicked on in text and what people have picked on through an image. And 80% of the people click the text, but still 20% clicked on the image, right? And it's still powerful. And that's kind of like how you go about that.
And that can be a lot of people, because if you're talking about tens or hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people, like that's a significant amount. So when you are actually going about putting together a sequence, or you're maintaining your list and you're sending them new stuff that they haven't seen before, what sort of cadence do you get into? I mean, are you making regular offers, or are you really building value? Like, how often do you email? What does that look like for you?
Well, generally my list will get, they'll get an email from me each day, which will be to a piece of content, which will have there is literally no way they can purchase anything from that content, right? There is nothing to press. They can't do it. It's impossible, right? So that is something that they'll get every day. And I will probably focus on one offer per month. Sometimes it might be every couple of months, maybe even a quarter. And then if it's like an affiliate launch, for example, I will realistically start talking about the solution that product will achieve maybe 2 to 3 weeks before. So I will start talking about something that is relative to me, relative to someone else. So you're talking about not only sharing your own results, but also borrowing authority for other people which have looked at it. And then as it starts getting closer, then you're going to start saying, okay, well, this is coming up. It might be a free training or something like that where they can get in. Sometimes there's always like an early bird which they can register to start with and get a download or something like that to help them on. And you go through the whole sequence all the way through. But again, you've got to look at it and think, if people have gone through, and let's say it's a webinar or a training or something like that, and there is an offer at the end, you'll get the emotional buyers on the day, and then you'll get the logical buyers over the rest of the time. So you have to deal with both sets. Initially, you're dealing with the emotional buyers where you can get super excited about it and tell them exactly what it's going to do and how fun and cool it is. And it's definitely something that they're going to need, because you're not sending them that email unless you truly believe yourself it's going to help them, right? So, you've still got that ethical mind going on where you're not sending them cat products to the dog people and all that sort of stuff, right? So then as you go through the sequence, through the week, it might be that you decide to offer some extra bonuses yourself, which are related to that problem that can be solved. So a recent one might be something to do with helping optimization or conversions on a sales page. And then I will start offering bonuses, which is going to help them get traffic to their offers, right? So, it's got to be hugely relative. I can't physically improve on the product itself because I didn't build it. But what I can do is think, okay, right, well, now that you've got this amazing thing going on, you need traffic. So this is how you can get some traffic, and you can start building up that to make the perceived value even greater. And they think, that's cool. I really needed it anyway. I was just wondering, and now I can get all this fun stuff that I can go with it as well. And it's going to make life so much easier and give me every advantage right from the start. And then you're pushing forward for that. And again, you can start doing scarcity and start taking away bonuses. It's not something that I've ever done myself, to say, if you don't act within the next 12 hours, you're only getting bonus 1 to 4 and number 5 is gone, that sort of stuff. So I know people do that. They take away bonuses as it goes to cart close and stuff. I don't do that. I just let people have it all.
So that makes so much sense, of really making sure you're addressing both types of buyers, your emotional and your logical. Have you found that there's been an even split of like 50-50, or more people one or the other? Like, what does the distribution look like there?
Wow, that's interesting, because there's too many variables to come into play. Because sometimes, people, the emotional buyers are super excited and they have to get it right there and then. But there's also those emotional buyers which might get dragged away. Something might come up, they lose their internet connection, or the tea's ready. Or they've got to go out with their friends or something, they need to be somewhere, or they got to go to work, or it's getting too late and they're getting tired and then they go to sleep. But they still need several touch points, like the seven times to get the sale, that sort of thing. So they might be an emotional buyer, but they still need those constant reminders, because again, we've all seen the Facebook ads, hey, you left without purchasing, or did you forget, ? And all that sort of thing. And that's designed for those emotional buyers. For the logical buyers, it's going to be more, as far as like your retargeting goes, whether that be by ads or by email, it's going to be more testimonial based. It's going to be more FAQ based, and it's going to be more value based on, speaking out about the potential returns and the actual value they're going to get from the product itself. So there's a whole bunch of things and factors that can go into it, because during that time in between launch and cart close, the emotional buyers are always there, but the logical buyers tend to come into play further down the line.
I love the idea of the multiple touch points and making sure that you're still making it relevant to both your emotional and your logical buyers, no matter when they actually, or what part of the journey they're actually in. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can like advance it as well. So rather than just doing like video or text-based FAQ answering stuff like that, you could actually put on a live with it. And although you've already got the questions that came in, you would answer those on the live, but also invite people to ask questions that you can answer at the end as well. So, by doing all this, you're overcoming objections. And the more objections that you can overcome, then the more likely you are of actually making the sale in the last place. And, there's various different closing methods that people use over time. And I remember reading one of Brian Tracy's books, which was Advanced Selling Strategies. And he was talking about the time where he was trying to sell. And if you don't know who Brian Tracy is, just go and Google it. We haven't got all night to do this one, right? And he was saying to someone, he was selling a product to something to a customer, and the customer turned around and says, I can't afford it. And the answer at that time, taking it a little bit out of context, was, that's exactly why you need it. Right. So
nice.
You can imagine something like that. I mean, if we try and put a bit of context in there, and someone's got a failing website and they're looking at an agency to help them grow their business, and the agency turns around and tells them how much it's going to be, and the guy or girl turns around and says, I can't afford it. And they turn around and go, that's exactly why you need us. Isn't that powerful?
Yeah. Thank you, Brian, for that tip.
Yeah, because that then turns, that starts spinning the wheels, doesn't it? And they start thinking, oh my God, what could happen? And then I would be able to afford it. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
So one last question for you, because we're going a little bit over time. It feels like time has really flown. Been having a lot of fun.
Always.
And thank you very much for sharing your time this far.
That's cool.
But what do we really need to know? Like, in other words, what questions should I be asking you that I just haven't asked and wouldn't think to ask?
Well, I've got a whole list of things you shouldn't ask me. No, I'm not telling you my bank number on my card, or my PIN number, or where I live, things like that. I think realistically would be if people are just starting out, the right questions would be how best to pick a product. And I think we did mention that to start with, which was find something that you already use. There's a 99% chance they have an affiliate program, right? So, and because you're a user, and if you're happy with it and you're still, if you bought it and you haven't refunded it, or if it's a monthly program and you're still paying for it, there's a really good chance that you're happy with what you're doing. So you can have that, the good feeling within you to recommend it to other people, right? So that's starting out. That's the best way of starting out. If you've got to a certain point and you feel like you're stalling and, your income level is X and you want to get it to Y, then the best thing really is to look at people which have already achieved what you want to achieve. And everyone's probably heard this again, and it's kind of like in the same ways. Again, I'll refer back to Brian Tracy's story. One of his very first jobs was selling a coupon book, and he was doing that door to door. Is going from door to door, business to business, selling this little $20 coupon book. And he worked hard. He really wore shoes out and stuff like this. And yeah, he still couldn't get a break. He was still, hardly getting any sales and was completely upset by it. So he went to the guy in the office, which was selling the most. He was selling like 3 or 4 times anyone else in the office. So he went and asked him, how are you doing it? And then the guy sat there, talked to him, told him what he was doing. Brian started going out the next day, started repeating the process. And guess what? He started getting similar results. And the more that he did it, the better his presentation was, the better his results became. And that is the basis of how we actually managed to get there. So when we're talking about business or affiliate marketing or anything like that, just go to someone who has already achieved the results that you want and get coaching from them, get mentoring, get consultations with them or anything like that. Because that is the true way to advance. I mean, again, we can all sit there and watch 8 hours of YouTube on stuff, which you think because it's on YouTube and they're telling you it's free and insider and secret and all that sort of baloney, they're not going to tell you the exact methods. They're not going to tell you precisely what to do. They're just going to give you an overview. They're going to give you like a sketch. They're not going to give you the finished drawing. And that's kind of like the best way of doing it. It's just getting dark here. Did you notice that?
I did. You're starting to look more like a silhouette and less like a person. Well, on that note, I wanted to say thank you very much for coming on the show today and sharing some of your time.
Ben, you're welcome, man. It's been awesome.
Very appreciative, and we're literally out till the sun's gone. So that's awesome.
I know. Yeah, that's it. I need to get that start a rabbit thing going on again, don't
I? Awesome, man. Well, thank you again. If people want to come learn more about you, where can they go? What should they do?
The easiest way to do, and the non-salesy thing to do, would be literally just go and plug into my podcast, which is Ultimate Affiliate Marketing. You can go find it on all your favorite podcast platforms. And I look forward to talking to them at any point. It'd be awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you very, very much again, Paul. And thank you to everybody watching and listening. I'll see you all on the next episode.
Hello again, eCom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a big thank you for sticking with us to the end of this episode. I know how valuable your time is, and I want to congratulate you for setting yourself apart from the pack by investing your attention into this podcast. Now, make sure to maximize this time by taking notes while it's still fresh, listening to the episode multiple times if you need to, and implementing what you have learned right away into your own business. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more training and want to learn the step-by-step methodology that you need to build the e-com business of your dreams, I want you to join me for an exclusive invite-only training that I'm only giving specifically for podcast listeners. Now, in it, we're going to share the secrets of what we've used to scale Dropified into the 2019 5,000 number 55 fastest growing company in America. You will not find this information anywhere else, guaranteed. To get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or just click the link below and in the show notes, and I will see you on the other side.